I'll call the August 8th, 2024 City Commission meeting to order at 4 p.m. We have 4 commissioners present. We have Mayor Musil is excused from the meeting today. Everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Any changes, corrections, additions?
None.
I see none.
I'll take a motion.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. There's no nays. Were you going to nay? I gave him the choice. I did it. Citizen comments. Do we have anyone here that would like to make comments? Okay. We have a little addition here before we start the consent agenda. Colin has some additional information to share relative to the budget.
So real quick, I'll hand these out. Change pages. As you might be aware, that Grow Hayes received about $4.45 million for retail dollars to be used for retail. And of that money, there's been discussions, and $2 million of that will go to the city for the Brown property infrastructure. So all we did was add an outside funding source that shows that $2 million addition of cash for that project. So now the next work session of budget discussion is not scheduled, but of course we're always happy to talk about it. So just let us know if you want that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Colin.
And it's this minus the 180 they asked for, right? Okay.
I was going to look, David was going to take care of the no on that one.
You're welcome. Just wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Colin. Consent agenda, we have one mayoral appointment to the Housing Authority Board, Patricia Makings, for a 4-year term to expire 8/8 of '28.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Anybody have any other additions or questions? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Votes 4-0.
I like that change up though. All opposed?
Keep us on our toes. Appreciate it.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is rezoning of 2 tracks at 41st and Sherman from general commercial C2 to light industrial I1 Lewis Auto Group. Hi, Jesse.
Hello, Jesse Rohr, Director of Public Works. So my 2 agenda items today are both pertaining to the same 2 tracts of property. So the city did receive an application to request rezoning of these 2 tracts from general commercial or C2 to light industrial, which is I1. The properties are north of I-70, east of Vine Street. Most of us probably know these as the former Verney's Toys for Trucks business, and then their sales lot that was immediately west of the business itself. The past property owner recently sold the property. The previous business is moving to a new location, and they have a new business going to soon occupy these properties, assuming the zoning gets approved. And the intention of the property for the new owner is the kind of a mechanic service type of shop, parts warehouse, and potentially a detail or body shop as well. So with all rezonings we do, we like to show you first the existing zoning map. You see a lot of red on the screen, which is general commercial. The 2 properties in question are outlined in blue on here, and those are proposed to move to light industrial. And I'll explain in a minute here kind of the differences between C2 and light industrial. The other map we like to show you is our future land use map. This is shown in the comprehensive plan. It comes directly out of the comprehensive plan and shows properties that are not only zoned, but what adjacent properties might be zoned to in the future if they're currently unzoned. So we feel that based on the comprehensive plan, the property, the new use of the property, the light industrial does fit into the existing area, and I'll show some reasons why here as well. So this is looking north. Across the street here, the property to the right was the Verney's Toys for Trucks business. The property on the left was what they use for their trailer and truck sales. So those are 2 lots in question. You can see there, although they've been zoned commercial, it's kind of been a light industrial type of use. that business went in today, it would fall more into the light industrial than C2. Here's an overhead view of the two properties. Again, they're outlined in the dark blue. You see the blue box on the right has the building in it, and then the other one is the vacant lot that hopefully will soon have a building on it. I do want to point out on this map that, as we talk about adjacent uses, there are storage units nearby, just to the south actually. That property actually zones C2. They were allowed in previous zoning under C2. They're now allowed under light industrial. So those would be a direct fit in a light industrial zoning district under the current Unified Development Code. So within the light industrial, we have three types of uses. We have uses by right. That means if zoned light industrial, there's no conditions on the property. Any of these uses are fair game. And so the bullet points here, the list of uses you see are all uses by right in an I1 or light industrial zoning. Here's just a few more continued that are also uses by right. And then the second group of uses we have are called limited uses. So they're not quite uses by right, but they're not to the point where they need an exception from the Board of Zoning. They're limited, meaning there's certain conditions that may apply, but it's staff approval still. So again, these uses here, there may be certain conditions placed upon them. Could be conditions pertaining to parking, could pertain to buffers between adjacent properties, or even what type of streets they front on. Here's just a few more limited uses. Again, if zoned I1, any of these could be located on the property. And then we have just 4 uses that are listed in I1 zoning. These are uses by exception. So if someone chose to put these on an I1 property, it would require a public hearing and a process through the Board of Zoning to get permission to do so. So a little comparison from C2 to I1. Previous to the UDC, which was adopted in 2016, there were quite a bit of differences between light industrial and commercial. After the development of the Unified Development Code, those uses are much more closer than they were previous to that. So a lot of the uses allowed in C2 and I1 are the same. So the ones in red here on your list are within light industrial, would not be allowed in C2. So if the rezoning were not approved, anything in the red could not happen on the property. There's limited uses, and so you can see how many are not red that would be allowed in both zoning districts. So here, the green highlighted areas are the uses that are allowed within light industrial. So it just shows you the kind of the point here is to show you how closely interconnected light industrial and C2 general commercial really are.
You said the red was, the first ones were C2 zoning, and the red is what can go into.
So yeah, here are the ones in red.
That's the industrial.
Would not be allowed in C2, only industrial.
Would only be allowed in light industry.
It wouldn't.
In the I1.
It would not be allowed in, if it was zoned commercial, the ones in red would not be allowed. So if it stayed zoned as it is, anything highlighted red here could not be located on the property.
I kind of find it's kind of funny that light industry is allowed in commercial.
Right.
But other things are only allowed if it's light industry, but light industry is allowed in commercial.
Right. And there are some crossovers, and it's funny you bring that up because light industry is actually there's a definition, and one of the uses that fits in the use light industry would be like a contractor's office and shop. So maybe a plumbing contractor is considered light industry. They've got outdoor storage, they've got a shop inside, they've got an office in the front, maybe a customer service area. That's kind of what the light industry use relates to. But yeah, it's interesting how.
Sometimes outside their house.
All in the wording. So again, on the the green ones, they're allowed in not only C2 but also light industrial. So a lot of crossover between the two. Here's just a few more that are limited uses between the two districts. So the process did go through the Planning Commission. We did hold a public hearing, provided property notifications to all property owners within a 1,000-foot radius as required per state statute. the planning commission did unanimously approve, recommend to you the zoning for approval. So these will be your options you'd have today. This would be the action requested.
I move we adopt ordinance number 4055, approving the rezoning request from General Commercial District C2 to Light Industrial District. An I1?
I-1.
For the two parcels located near the intersection of East 41st and Sherman Avenue, as legally described.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Barrick, seconded by Commissioner Reuter. Is there any further discussion, questions?
I just have one question. Out of those, the survey, 1,000 radius out, any complaints or those opposing?
There weren't. We had one property owner attend the planning commission meeting. His only question, he wanted to ensure that, and he was an abutting property owner, that his property wasn't being rezoned.
Okay.
And once he was assured of that, then he had no issue. He said he had no issue with the zoning to I-1. There was one other call from not an abutting property owner, but someone within the 1,000-foot radius. They called inquiring about information regarding it,
Mhm.
and that was before the public hearing. They didn't attend public hearing. I think they were satisfied with the information given them, and that was
Excellent.
it. There was no one opposed.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for an existing business to expand close to their other business, and the corridor is totally being enhanced because of all the moves. So I thought it was a really good idea for them, and I'm glad it's able to work out. Any other questions? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. The next is the annexation of two tracts located at 41st and Sherman for JTL Leasing, which is Lewis Auto Group. Jesse?
Okay, so we're talking about the same two parcels of property. Again, highlighted in the blue here, the ones you just approved the rezoning for. At this time, the new owners were requesting annexation. They desire city services, meaning water and sewer. So currently, neither of those properties have city water or city sewer. The main utilities are directly adjacent to the properties. There will be no additions made to city mains. However, annexation would allow connections to city services, not only water, sewer, but all the other city services that are provided to customers within the city limits. So we did receive an application. So this is what's known as a consensual annexation for state statute. As I mentioned before, new owners have recently taken over this property. It is contiguous with the city limits, which makes it the simplest type. Contiguous and consensual make it the most simple type of annexation. And I mentioned that the infrastructure and services are readily available. On this one, a couple pretty simple options here. Either annex the properties as requested or not. This, again, would be the action requested.
I move to approve ordinance number 4056, annexing the two tracts of property located at 41st and Sherman as legally described within the adopting ordinance.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Barrick. Questions? Comments?
Pretty nice. There's no infrastructure needed. It's easily hooked up, and it's already
Nice deal.
contiguous with the city, and
Good deal.
good deal.
If there's nothing else, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Commissioner Barrick, anything for the good of the order?
Always something.
Always something for the good of the order.
Yeah, just thankful to get some rain and to cool down a little bit. So it's a fun end of the summer, and school's about to ramp up. We see football's out practicing. You can almost smell fall in the air. So it's just a good time to be in Hayes.
It is that. Commissioner Cunningham.
I had the pleasure, along with both of you, to attend the Purple Heart ceremony for the veterans and recognizing that Hayes is now a Purple Heart city. And it was just fascinating to see all the veterans in attendance. I personally was really intrigued by some of the numbers that they pulled, knowing that 48 Ellis County members have given their life to serve and protect us. The numbers were very intriguing to me to hear. One number that I wish they had research that I would love to know is how many members from Ellis County have served in general, like all together. But it was great to be a part of and see, and I'm honored that we're now a Purple Heart City. So that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Reuter.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a wonderful little ceremony that they had there in a beautiful park. I just wanted to offer my congratulations to the NBC World Series champions, Hayes Larks. That was awesome.
Awesome.
What a way to end that after 39 tries.
Mhm.
I think it's glad we were finally able to get that win, and it was good, especially taking down the reigning champ. Sorry, Hutch. But that was fun. So yeah, everybody enjoy this nice, cool weather.
That's for sure. I, like Commissioner Reuter and Commissioner Cunningham, attended the Purple Heart proclamation yesterday and read a proclamation on behalf of Mayor Musil. You know, it's one thing when people come before us and stand up there and ask us to do something, and we think through it and decide, yeah, we can probably do that. It's another thing to stand among them, to stand out there, read that proclamation yesterday with all of the veterans that were there when they had them raise their hand, and then not only just veterans, they had them raise their hand if they were Purple Heart awardees. It makes it a whole lot more real. And I know Commissioner Reuter and I were talking yesterday, and Commissioner Cunningham also thinks it's a good idea. We would like to investigate the cost of a billboard sign on outside town on the interstate like Russell has. It may be cost prohibitive, it may be something we don't want to do, but Russell County has theirs up now, and it's really pretty impressive. And the interesting thing about, it's like a lot of times presence is not noted as much as absence, and I think that could happen with this one. By the time you drive through Russell County and see the big signs that says they're Purple Heart City, you go through Ellis County and there is no sign that we're a Purple Heart City, even though we are. So again, it may be cost prohibitive, but I'd be interested. I'm sure that Melissa probably has dollars and cents of what something like that costs. So if we'd look into it, if everybody else agrees that it's at least worth investigating.
I think so.
Okay, very good. Okay, nothing else. We have no executive session.
Nope.
We're adjourned.
Yeehaw.